Netflix executives are in a Tokyo boardroom presenting their ambitious anime expansion strategy to a consortium of Japanese production companies. The American team delivers a passionate 20-minute pitch about global reach, streaming metrics, and revenue projections. The Japanese executives nod politely, ask no challenging questions, and respond with phrases like, "This is very interesting," and "We will consider this carefully." Netflix leaves convinced they've secured the partnerships. 3 months later, every single Japanese company declines collaboration, choosing instead to work with domestic streaming platforms. What happened? The Netflix team couldn't read the Kuuki, the atmospheric pressure in that room that was screaming "no" from minute 3 of their presentation. This is the cost of being Kuuki Yomenai, literally cannot read the air. It's not just missing social cues, it's being blind to the invisible decision-making atmosphere that determines success or failure before words are even spoken. Today, we're building your ability to read the Kuuki through 3 progressive levels. Level 1 is recognition. Level 2 is basic interpretation.
Level 3 is navigation.
Let's start with what beginners miss entirely. When Uber entered Japan in 2013, their executives consistently misread meeting atmospheres. They interpreted polite attention as genuine interest, administrative questions as buying signals, and lengthy discussions as thorough consideration rather than gentle rejection. The first level of Kuuki reading is recognizing that every Japanese business interaction has an atmospheric quality that exists parallel to the spoken conversation. This atmosphere is created through collective nonverbal communication, the sum total of how everyone in the room is feeling about what's happening. Here's what to watch for at level 1. Notice the energy level in the room. Does it feel engaged or dutiful? Are people leaning forward or maintaining formal posture? Pay attention to the pace of responses. Quick, natural reactions suggest comfort with the direction. Longer pauses before answers indicate consideration that may not be favorable. Watch for what I call courtesy fatigue, when the effort to maintain politeness becomes visible through micro-expressions or slight shifts in posture. This is the Kuuki telling you that the room's patience with your approach is being tested. The most important recognition signal is what Japanese business culture calls shincho, cautious hesitation. When you see increasing formality, more frequent use of qualifying phrases like perhaps or it might be possible, and a general cooling of enthusiasm, the Kuuki is shifting against your position.
Now that you can sense atmospheric shifts, Level 2 teaches you what they mean. There are 3 primary types of Kuuki you'll encounter. Positive Kuuki feels like gentle forward momentum. Questions become more specific and practical. Discussion shifts from theoretical to implementation details. And you'll notice participants beginning to build on each other's ideas rather than just responding to yours. Neutral Kuuki maintains professional distance. This is the default setting for most Japanese business interactions. Responses remain polite but general. Questions focus on clarification rather than expansion. And the conversation maintains a steady, measured pace without significant energy shifts. Negative Kuuki creates subtle resistance. This doesn't mean hostility. Remember, Japanese business culture prioritizes harmony. Instead, negative Kuuki manifests as increased formality, longer pauses before responses, and what Edward T. Hall called high-context communication. Answers that technically address your questions while avoiding real engagement with your proposals. The key insight at Level 2 is understanding that Kuuki often determines outcomes before logical arguments are even evaluated.
Level 3 is where you move from passive observation to active navigation. This means testing the Kuuki, adjusting your approach based on atmospheric feedback, and even influencing the room's energy. Consider how Starbucks successfully entered Japan by reading and adapting to Kuuki. Instead of pushing their American store model, they tested different approaches in each meeting, watching how the Kuuki responded to various concepts. When they mentioned third place philosophy, a space between home and work, the Kuuki warmed noticeably. When they discussed rapid expansion plans, it cooled. They navigated by following the atmospheric guidance. Advanced Kuuki navigation involves 3 specific techniques. First is atmospheric testing, introducing ideas gradually while monitoring Kuuki responses. Rather than presenting complete proposals, you offer concepts piece by piece, gauging the room's atmospheric reaction to each element. Second is Kuuki alignment, adjusting your presentation style to match the room's energy. If the Kuuki feels cautious, you slow down and provide more context. If it feels engaged, you can accelerate and include more detail. This isn't manipulation, it's respectful adaptation to the group's processing style. Third is Kuuki influencing. This might involve sharing relevant experience that builds credibility, asking questions that demonstrate understanding of Japanese business priorities, or acknowledging potential challenges in ways that show thoughtful consideration. The advanced practitioner recognizes that Kuuki exists in layers. Surface Kuuki reflects immediate reactions to your presentation. Deeper Kuuki reveals the group's underlying concerns, priorities, and decision-making criteria. Master navigators learn to read both levels simultaneously.
Here's a practical tip for your next Japanese business interaction. Before presenting any ideas, spend a few minutes just observing the Kuuki. Notice the room's energy level, the pace of conversation, and the general atmosphere. Then, as you begin your presentation, watch for Kuuki shifts and practice adjusting your approach accordingly.
Want to dig a little deeper? Stay with us as we decode the nuances of Japanese business culture.